Welcome back to another video, and as you can probably see, since you're staring at my bed sheets rather than my face, it's the time of the year again, we're doing a declutter. So previously I have done my cheek and lip product declutters a bit differently. I've done them together by brand, and I think this year or this holiday season, I think I'm going to try to also get the lip products to this video, but we are changing things up a little. So what we are doing here, instead of doing this per brand, we're doing this by categories. So I have gathered my sort of liquid blushes or cream blushes in one pile. Then we're gonna do probably the liquid highlighters. Then I have separated my bronzers and contour products, so I have powders and cream and liquid products separately, and I'm going to have my powder blushes, and also with highlighters I will have the powder highlighters separately. And then lastly, there's a couple of like big face palettes we're gonna do all together, and then after that I will try to get the lip products also to this video, but if it seems that this is gonna be too long, then I might separate the lip products, and the eyeshadow palette declutter video will be coming after this one. And I'm having quite big of a pile of Black Friday makeup that I have gotten recently, so for your information, the Black Friday makeup or any makeup that I will be having in a bit over 1 week time, because it's going to be a Christmas, so those products are obviously not going to be included, and it's a pretty good thing that I'm doing the declutter now, because my drawers are getting a bit overflown. And last week we didn't have any video. I did have a bit of mix-up in my weekend schedule, so no long-form content, but I have been posting shorts because I'm doing this sort of short series on my Catrice Advent calendar, and I have been doing some swatches from the sort of Black Friday products that I have been getting. But that's the intro, and this is as always, a disclaimer, this is no way meant to be about bragging the collection I have. This is just me purely looking through my collection, looking what I'm still using, what I don't use, and any makeup that is getting decluttered is going to be getting thrown away, because I'm not gonna obviously pass down used makeup to other people. But let's now get to the declutter part, and as I said, we will probably start with the cream and liquid blushes first, because if you are looking at the camera, that is probably the biggest pile that we have to deal with today. Okay, and let's get this forward so we are on frame, and my god, we're having a lot of things to go through. So let's get into a position and start. So this is the W7. This is the cheek dip. I do remember giving this formula quite a good review, and actually do like this kind of formula. It's, I think, one of the better formulas you can get at a drugstore. I believe the shade of this one was, what was this called? Lustful was the shade name of this one, but this is getting to stay. Then these Makeup Revolution ones. I think what I'm going to do is that I am going to be keeping this one. So this is the matte version of their matte blush, these are blush ones. These are Charlotte Tilbury dupes. So I am keeping the sort of baby pink one. But this one is getting decluttered, this deeper red one. It's actually a good shade, but there are a couple of similar shades with other brands that I actually do like the formula a bit more. So I think this is getting decluttered because I am not using this as much as I'm using the pink one. And I have said from both of these that these are both pretty pigmented, even this lighter shade. So if you are planning to buy this is, I think, one of the better like drugstore formulas generally for liquid blushes. I would actually recommend this, but if you are planning to buy these are pretty pigmented. But this one is going, and this one is staying, and my god, could my camera focus a bit? Then something that I did get during my Dublin trip this year, this is one of the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. This is the only one that I got, and what was the shade name of this one? Could we please focus? Okay, it's having a hard time. So this was in the shade Encourage, and this is staying. I did actually like this formula a bit, and the shade is nice mauve. So this is one of the Essence blushes from their sort of cream blushes from their Baby Got Blush line. This was in their fall edit, and it's a nice cherry shade. I actually did like this shade. It is rather unique shade in my collection, even though this formula isn't my sort of absolute favorite, but I am keeping this because of the shade. Then this one, so this is the only Kiko Milano cream. Was this I think this was the blush shade. Wait, I'll have to check. 01. Did I mix this one? Wait a second. Because the 200. Wait a minute. No, I do think this is looking to be... Yeah, okay, I didn't. It's just a very... The bronzer shade, it's pretty similar, but this is... it's a... My camera is making this look a bit brown, but... I would say this is a peachy orange shade in real life. This wasn't my... I think I said in a review about this one that it's a good cream blush if you're like your more buildable formulas. For me, this is a bit more on the too buildable side. I did feel I have to go over this for quite a lot, but I did like the end result of it. It's nice. I think it's a Morphe satin cream blush, but this is staying. These two are obviously not gonna go anywhere, so these are the Revolution Mousse blushes, and which were the shade names? My camera is not exactly... Blossom, and I think the other one was Soft Pink, yeah. So these are absolutely staying. This is a very pigmented and more matte leaning cream blush, but this is definitely one of the, again, better formulas Makeup Revolution has done, and I would actually, like I have always said, that I would recommend these if you're planning to buy these, especially from the drugstore side. Then what are we gonna have next? So this is one of the Glosscards liquid blushes. This is still one of my favorite like liquid blush formulas like altogether. But I do think that this carrot orange shade, this isn't the most flattering shade on me, and I think I'm not... Like, I have used this a fair bit, but I do think that the formula of this one, because these actually... well, the formula is looking quite okay, but I think I'm gonna be letting this one go, because I have tried to like use this as much as I can, but I have two other shades of this one, which I'm gonna be showing after this, that I actually like much more, and this carrot orange shade isn't the most flattering on me, so this is going to be going. Okay, 3 of these are not gonna go anywhere, so these are the liquid blushes by MUA. These are again another good find on drugstore. This isn't as orange as this tube is making it look, but these are all pretty shades. This is a more, I would say, on the side that it's a more glowier formula, but it's not something that stays sticky. It will still dry down, but these are a good find on drugstore and not going anywhere. And these have been like pretty convenient to travel because these are quite small. So these two Glosscards blushes are staying, so these are the shades. I hope we're on focus, we should be. So Bobby, and then I believe is it a Heartbreaker called the more paler one. So I'm gonna be keeping these two. As I said, this is one of my favorite liquid blush formulas altogether, and these are better shades than the orange one that I did just get rid of. Okay, then the Moira blush. This is something I tried Moira first time this summer when the brand became available in our stores, and this is in the shade Miss You. This wasn't my favorite. It wasn't, how should I say, it was an okay cream blush formula, but I feel that other blush formulas that I have in my collection work a bit better. I would still that if you are eyeing this and Moira is something else accessible to you, I mean, I don't think you're gonna be disappointed, but I just think that comparing this to other blush formulas, I'm just not reaching for this one. So that is the reason why this is getting decluttered. Okay, so here are both of the P. Louise blushes that I have from them. I think the other one was, what are the Pure Papaya and Winter Rose. So both of these are gonna stay. I do like this formula. This one is a bit more white based compared to this. It looks pretty orange on the tube, but it is actually more of a burgundy, sort of burgundy orange leaning shade when you apply it to the cheek. So these are a bit different in terms of the undertones they have, but it is still a pretty good formula, and I think one of the better products P. Louise has done. So the by Beauty Bay liquid blushes, I am going to be keeping these both. This isn't exactly my favorite. It's a bit of a like a mousse, almost a bit drier liquid blush formula, which I know is funny considering that it's a liquid blush formula, but I still do like both of these shades, and I do like keeping by Beauty Bay products in my collection, so that is why both of these get to stay. So I tried e.l.f. first time, another brand that became accessible in our country this year. This is a very pigmented and punchy formula. I believe the shade was called, what was this actually? Dusty Rose, yeah. So this was Dusty Rose. It is actually rather orange leaning shade, but one of the more pigmented liquid blushes, but I did actually like this formula in the shade, so it is staying. And I think both of these are also, so this is a Catrice, this is more of a sort of sheer formula, and this is a bit more maybe opaque, but still quite of a, also, how would I say, more duo formula. But I actually do think that, again, these are on the drugstore side, one of the better liquid blushes you can find, and both of these are staying. So this is Sisua, it's a K-beauty brand, and again, can we please... My camera is having a very hard time focusing today. So, Rose Chocolate Mousse was the shade name of this one. It is a more of a, what I would call a... the formula of this is pretty interesting, and I did like the shade of this one, and this is pretty, like, in terms of formula, pretty unique in my collection, so this is staying. And this is something that I haven't yet reviewed on my channel. This isn't the best because this is Makeup Revolution's sort of very cheap, inexpensive brand that they do, this Real Love brand. But I actually do like this shade, and again, this shade is a bit different from other blushes, so this gets to stay for a while now. So, those were the blushes done. Let's next go to these duos that I have. Most of these are Natasha Denona, but there is one sort of other brand duo. So this is the Catrice Cheek Affair Duo. So this was in their spring edit, I believe, this year, and this was the Love at First Swipe. I do have to say about this one, I haven't been reaching for this one. There are actually two like individual powder blushes from Catrice that I reach for more. The highlighter in this one, it's an okay highlighter, but it's also not anything revolutionary. So I am going to be getting rid of this one because I am just not reaching for this particular product. None of the Natasha Denona duos are going away. I actually do reach one, and hello, this is my camera. So this is the Rose Cheek Duo. How am I gonna get? This one, you can see I have used this a lot. I mean, obviously I have a dent in this one. The highlighter is also, it's more of the sort of more sparkly highlighters in Natasha Denona's line, but I do actually like this duo a lot. Then we have the Blush and Glow. Again, this is actually a repurchase. I think I panned, this was one of the first Natasha Denona duos I ever got. I was still a student when I got the first one, and I actually managed to pan that one, so this is something that I rebought because I actually liked it so much when I initially tried it. And then we have the Bronze and Glow. With this one, the highlighter, this is a bit too deep for me. It creates a cast, but this bronzer shade is actually nice neutral powder bronzer shade, so these are not going anywhere. So, powder bronzers, and I think with these ones, we aren't going to be doing any decluttering, because actually for these is actually one of the few, well, the cream and liquid highlighters are actually also looking quite manageable, so these are one of the few categories I don't have a lot of. So this is the NYX Buttermelt bronzer, and this is in the shade Buttercup. This was their bronzer that they released last year. This is more on the pigmented side, but I do, for a drugstore like this, it's a very smooth and nice formula, and I would recommend this one. Just be aware if you buy this, even the lightest shade, which is this one, it's quite pigmented. Okay, you can shame on me now. I still haven't used the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. Considering how expensive this is and everything, and it's been now like quite a few years that I bought this. I have swatched it a few times, but I haven't really been using it, so maybe my project for the upcoming year is that I should finally use this one. The same goes also for the powder highlighter I have, you're gonna be seeing later, but yeah, this is still staying even though I haven't used it. So, Tarte, this is the Park Ave bronzer in a sort of, this is a midi or a deluxe sample size. This has actually been in my rotation, and this is actually something that has gone to traveling with me a lot. I actually do use this quite a lot, so this is definitely staying. And then the Pat McGrath bronzer, I believe this is in the shade, what is this called? Naked Desire was the name of this one, and this was the fairest shade. Again, this is one of my, I have always said that because Pat McGrath, I don't think their eyeshadow formulas and palettes have been that in as of lately, or in, I think, maybe a couple of years now, but her cheek products are definitely still one of my favorites, so this is also definitely staying in my collection. So, nothing getting decluttered from my bronzers. Okay, let's maybe get the highlighters next. So, powder highlighters, and I do think we are going to be getting rid of some products. So, first the powder highlighters that are not going anywhere. So, These are the Oden's Eye highlighters, and these are the original ones. This is the Warm Sunshine. I have actually had these in my rotation recently because I've been trying out the Oden's Eye holiday palettes from this year, but this is still... I really wish they would bring this particular formula back, because this is the one that isn't so sparkly, because the highlighters they have been launching, I think this year, have been like Sparkle City, and as someone in their 30s, I don't want too many sparkles. I'd rather have a nice sheen on my cheek. So this is the Pink Star, so this is the other shade. I don't know why they haven't brought this back. It could be that they are not able to source the pigments or something for these, but I really would wish they would bring back the original ones, because these aren't as sparkly. None of those are going away. Then the Be Perfect Polar Vortex. So this is a more adventurous highlighter in my collection. This is a very nice baked smooth formula. This is in the shade Snow Angel. Not going anywhere, even though it's pretty huge and clunky to store, I do actually like, because it is pretty unique. So I like having this in my collection. So the Walk of another product of shame. So this is the highlighter from Charlotte Tilbury that I said I haven't used. So this is the Pillow Talk Glow, and my gosh, I didn't remember this was this hard to open. Now. So it is this beautiful shade. As I said, just like with the bronzer, I really should start using this one, because this has been staying in my drawers now for a couple of years unused. So I think this is going to be one of the best powder highlighters from this year. So this is the Fenty's powder highlighter formula. This is one of the smoothest powder highlighters that I have tried in a while. This was in the shade Too Much, but this is definitely staying, and I do like the effect that this is having, package is having. Moira. So another product that I tried from Moira this year, again, one of their highlighters. This is in the shade Dreamlight. Unlike with the cream blush, I do think I want to keep the highlighter. This is more on the sparklier side of highlighters, but it's still not too sparkly for my taste, and I do think it's a pretty good formula for like a mid-range brand that Moira is, so this is getting to stay. Another one that is getting to stay, so this is the Makeup Revolution highlighters. These are the baked highlighters. This is the Pink Seduction shade, and I again like this formula. It is it's not perhaps as maybe shiny as the Moira, for example, is, but I do think this gives a nice effect on the cheek. And with this particular shade, I have always said that if you have a fair skin tone like I do, maybe try to match your blush with this one, and then it's gonna look nice. It's gonna have a nice golden shift on your cheeks. Then a K-Beauty product. So this is from the brand, what was this actually? Romand, yeah. So this was from Romand, and this is in the shade, I think you're maybe able to read it. What was this actually? Okay, I can't, it's 02 something. I think Pink Star or something might have been that. No, not Pink Star, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. It was Pink something, but yeah. So a very beautiful, very smooth formula. I think this is definitely why I think many people like K-Beauty highlighters, because these are quite smooth, but yeah. This is definitely getting to stay in my collection. I do like that it's a more pink toned highlighter. So this is the Chanel Holiday highlighter from last year. I do know not all people are a fan of this. This is more on the sparkly side. For me, this is just on the edge that is it too much, but I have actually been able to make this work, and I do actually like this one, and I have paid a lot of money for it, so it's not going anywhere. Okay, then maybe some drugstore highlighters. Actually, I'm gonna go to the Rare Beauty last. So I think from these, I think this one, it's Time to Let It Go. So this is the W7 highlighter. I think this was meant to dupe one of the Charlotte Tilbury special edition highlighters. So it's this sort of striped. And I have used this as a travel highlighter, and when I have been having sort of like more drugstore-esque products in my rotation. But I think it's time to let this one go. This is getting to be a bit dry when I have used it, so it's not looking as nice. Essence Skimping Glow. I think I'm gonna keep this one because there's gonna be an Essence liquid or cream highlighter I'm gonna be decluttering, and I have actually said that I have liked this for the more subtle cheek days. It is actually a pretty nice formula. And then this one, I'm gonna be decluttering this purely because the package is broken. This is getting to be to the point where I have to be, it's like the package, because it is broken, it is sort of, I have to be very careful when moving this around in my storage. I can't travel with this one because the cap is loose on the packaging. So, but I have said that, again, this is one of the like better drugstore formulas. I like this MUA. It's a very smooth, it is a bit on the more blinding side, but it's a very smooth bake formula. I might rebuy this at some point. I'm not in such a hurry to buy sort of new highlighters because obviously I still have a lot after this declutter, but this is getting decluttered purely because the packaging is broken. And then lastly, the Rare Beauty. This is not going anywhere. As I said, I bought this on my trip to Dublin this summer, so I have discussed this earlier. I do think this is worth the hype. It's one of the smoothest, but in the same time very blinding and very nice looking highlighter formula. And yeah, it's a good thing that Rare Beauty maybe isn't accessible in my country, because otherwise I would be like running out buying more shades. And I think we're good just having one. Okay, let's maybe do the liquid ones next, because with these there isn't as much. So this is getting decluttered. This is the Essence Holo highlighter. I said that this is basically glitter on Vaseline. I tried to use this a couple of times after this was in my rotation, but this is just not a product for me, so this is getting decluttered. But do I want to get rid of this one? I was having the sort of complaint about this one that it's a bit too yellow undertone in my camera for some reason. The lighting that is in our bedroom, it's somehow highlighting and making it maybe look even more yellow than it's in real life. But I have actually had this recently in my rotation, and I actually did like this one. This is one of the liquid highlighters that gives a more sort of subtle glow to your sort of skin, rather than being this very overly glowy or dewy, because some of these liquid highlighting products in this kind of packaging have been that they make your skin very dewy, and as someone who has an oily linen skin, that's not exactly something that I want from my highlighting products. I just want my cheekbones to be emphasized. So actually, since I've been trying out this more, this is getting to stay in my collection. This is the Dior Forever Glow. This is the pink shade. This is also definitely staying, and this Essence Magic Filter. I have said that this is probably the closest dupe that I have found to Charlotte Tilbury's original. Now I'm blanking what's the name. Flawless Filter, yeah. Because this is something that has enough of a metallic base on the formula for you to be able to use this as a liquid highlighter on your cheekbones without the highlighter sort of sinking. Because some of these liquid highlighters, because this is for example, when you compare these two, this is a more of a watery formula, which is kind of good if you want to use this under your makeup, but for highlighting purposes, I do feel that this is better. Again, I'm sorry, my camera is making these look very yellow and darker. This is the lightest shade that I have in my collection, so ignore it, just the lighting. But yeah, we did get rid of one, two, yeah, we got three, well, we got rid of 3 highlighting products, so that's actually kind of good. Next, I think we're going to be doing the bronzers, and we're going to do the powder blushes, and then after that we're going to move on lastly to the face palettes. So, cream bronzers and liquid bronzers, I don't think this is as worse as we had with the blushes, because with the blushes, those have definitely been collected during the years. I'm just looking that, are we just gonna go through this? No, there are a few products that I'm gonna get rid of. So first one, unfortunately, that I am getting rid of is this one. So this is the Baby Got Bronze. So this is the sort of bronzing version of the blush you saw earlier. Unfortunately, this requires too much work for my preferences. So this is the fairest shade, but even though this is the fairest one, unlike with the blush that I praised in one of my review videos, that the blush was very easy to work with and it blended out. This one, unfortunately, I feel that you have to do a lot of finicking and a lot of work even on a fair skin tone to get this work, because I felt that it was very easy for this one to get too much of the product, and when you got too much of the product, it looked pretty like it went on patchy, it kind of looked odd. So I don't know why the formula of this one wasn't as good as with the liquid blush that they have in the similar packaging. And even if I tried to put very little of it, this still looks pretty deep, even though this is supposed to be the fairest shade. But yeah, in terms of shade match, this was pretty good. It was a nice, more cool tone leaning shade, but just the way that the formula just wasn't as good as with the blushes in the same packaging. So that is the reason why this is getting to go. So this is the P. Louise Spoiled for Choice. So this is the individual cream bronzer. I did mention that for this one I would use a denser liquid liquid contour or a sort of liquid product brush to get the products. It's a bit yellow leaning. My shade is the Biscuit Bestie, but I do think that even though it's maybe a bit of a stiffer formula, it is still pretty good. So this is staying. The MUA Bronzed. So this is how this is looking. And this is in the shade Bronzed. It is again one of those maybe bit more yellow leaning shades, but particularly during summertime I have actually liked using this one, and this again is a very smooth and creamy product to use. My advice for this one is though that because it is a bit more on the emollient side, so be a bit careful when you pick this with a brush. Try to get maybe a bit like a smaller amount and then build it to your liking, because with this one, because it's a bit more emollient, there is the risk that you get too much on your brush if you go very hard on this one. So something that's not going anywhere, so this is the Fenty Cream Contour shade in the shade Amber. One of the, I think, better shade matches for me. It's a nice cool tone shade, so I do like this formula, so this gets to stay. So the Kiko bronzing sticks are not going anywhere. I still haven't tried the sort of mainline one. Again, my camera is making this look maybe a bit more brown than sort of brown leaning than actually the shade is in real life. So I think this was in the 200 shade, but this is getting to stay. This is probably going to be going to my favorite products of the year. For the bronzer side, this has been pretty well used, as you can see. One of the most blendable, smoothest, but still something that doesn't blend away. The highlighting end of this one, not my favorite. Pretty hard to work with, but in terms of contour and bronzing, this is one of the like best formulas that I've tried this year. Okay, then the next one. How much? I have used this a fair bit, but I think I have had like, because when I initially, the highlighting end is not my favorite. When I initially got this, I didn't have that many sort of these contouring or bronzing sticks. And I do think that the shade match of this one has been pretty good, and I do think the formula has been pretty decent for drugstore, but I do think that I have other like cream and liquid bronzers and contours that I reach for now over this one, so that is the reason why I'm actually going to be decluttering also this one. So this again is one of the products that have maybe surpassed the NYX. So this is the Shaping Stick by Be Perfect, and what is the shade? Maple is the shade name of this one. Again, one of the better shade matches for me, and I actually do like the shape of this one. This is especially, I think, good product for those that if you really like doing your sharp contours, that's not the makeup style that I go for. But if you are a person who likes to do that kind of makeup, I would maybe actually look for this one, because the shape of it is pretty good for more precise contour work. The formula is pretty good, and again, this is, I think, for a mid-range priced product, I would recommend this one. And so the two more liquid products. So this is the Gloss Gods liquid contour shade, and this is in the what is it called? You Are Inspiring, and then the W7 one, I think I'm gonna have to look this one, Shadow. Both of these are sort of go to my category of favorite liquid contouring bronzers. This is actually something that I have actively had to do work to put this particular shade down, because again, this just like with the Kiko contour stick, it has been such a good formula that I have tried to like almost use it up, which is quite rare with the makeup collection that I have. And I think it's one of those like liquid contour formulas where if you want a more lighter finish, then you can put like one dot on your cheeks and then it builds really nicely. This Gloss Gods formula is also a good one, but with this one, how should I say, it is quite easy to go heavy-handed with this one. So this is one of those formulas that again I would maybe start slow and see how much you want to build it, but it's still a very nice and blendable formula. So blushes, and these are the powder blushes. We obviously did the liquid ones. Again, blushes have been the, I think, most collected products, I think, from this year, and I think because the blush trend already started last year, there's quite a lot that has accumulated. I think it's time to let this one go. So this is from Kiko Milano's holiday collection. This is from the Joyful Holiday line from a few years ago. This is just getting a bit old at this point. I am kind of feeling it when I'm using the formula. I think with some of these more like drugstore-esque brand, it is the fact that they don't age as well as maybe some of the other other high-end formulas, of course, there are also drugstore formulas that do last quite well, but with this one, I'm just like seeing when I'm using this that the age of the formula is starting to show. So this is getting decluttered just because of the age of it. So this is from the Kiko summer collection this year. So this is from the Golden Reflection, and this was from the 02. This is getting to stay. I was actually positively surprised about this one because I was thinking that it's going to be Glitter City on my cheeks, but actually this was more of a nice satiny finish, and I do think this actually was pretty beautiful pink golden shade, so this is getting to stay. So this is Kiko's holiday collection from last year, and this is, can we please focus please? So 02 Mauve Appearance. This is actually pretty similar shade to the shade to the shade that I actually just decluttered, so that's actually why I'm not that upset about it, because the shade of this one was quite close to the shade. I think the shade from year previous of this one, it was maybe a bit more orangey leaning, so this isn't maybe as warm, but I would still say when I swatched out the blushes together, they still look pretty similar, but this is getting to stay because the formula of this one is still quite good, and I do like what they did with the packaging last year. Then maybe let's go through the W7 blushes together. What am I gonna do with these ones? Because I think I could let go at least one of these, and if I want one of them back. These are just clunky to store. So I think what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna, the Strawberry Street, which is this very punchy, orangey, red shade. I do think this is something that I'm gonna be decluttering because there's very limited time. Okay, I don't know, my camera is trying to focus on the other blush. There's only a very limited amount of time during the year when I want to use this one compared to two other shades, so I do think maybe I will be letting this one go. The Lotus Lake is not going anywhere because this is actually one, it's a more of a nice neutral leaning pink shade. It is pretty unique on my sort of collection altogether, and I do actually like using this particular shade, so this is getting to stay. And so I have, this is obviously a dupe for the, NARS has redone their packaging, so this is in the reformulated new packaging. And I don't have the shade for shade dupe because this is, I think, meant to, this is a dupe for the Orgasm. This is actually Deep George. It's a more matte leaning formula, but they are still pretty similar shades. Okay, this is obviously also more paler. I have actually used this fair bit. You can kind of see that there's a dent in this one, but I don't think I need both of these ones. I think it's time to let this one go. I think just like with a couple of other of the drugstore blushes, with this one I did notice because I think I went traveling with this one during the summer once, and I did feel that this did not blend out as well as it has maybe a year ago. So I think this might be having the thing that the formula is just not as good as it used to be. If I'm gonna miss this terribly, I can just rebuy this one because these aren't expensive. So yeah, I think this is time to let this one go also. So the NARS one, this obviously not going anywhere. I gave a lot of credit when I included this in my collective makeup review video. I like the shade very much. It's a more matte leaning shade, but I do like how smooth and how just the overall finish this looks on my cheek. So this is staying. So these are the Catrice blushes. These are the sort of air glow blushes, and none of these are, what were the shade now? So this one was Cloud Wine, so this was the more mauve one, and this is the Peach Passion. Yeah, both of these are getting to stay. I do think that if you're considering buying a blush from Catrice, I would actually look into this formula. I think it's one of the, like, again, good formulas from the drugstore, and especially if you like more maybe matte and satin leaning powder blushes, you're not going to be disappointed with these ones. This again is going to stay, so this is the Essence Blush Crush blushes. These came out, I think, again on the spring edit, and this is called Cool Berry, so it is a more, again, my camera is making this look very sort of red leaning, but it's actually more cool toned leaning shade in real life. Very beautiful formula, especially how inexpensive these are. My only issue is that because they had to like cut corners somewhere, this is very flimsy. Like I'm still dreading the day when the packaging is gonna break down. I'm gonna keep this one because, as I said, for drugstore, it's a very beautiful, very smooth and airy blush formula, but we'll have to see how long the packaging will last. Okay, then to the category of products that I'm just gonna go through because I'm not getting rid of any of these. So this is Pattern Craft. These are their original powder blushes, and this was in the shade Nymphette, and I'm just gonna show this one. Or actually, am I gonna declutter this one because I think I might have this shade. I'm gonna look now from the palettes. Okay, so we'll retract that. I have the Nymphette shade in one of the blush palettes that for the longest time has been hanging out in my collection unused, and that actually has also a highlighter and another blush shade, and I also have one of the blush palettes from one of the holiday collections some years ago. This has been pretty well used for an individual blush in my collection, but I think it's now time because I actually bought this when the individual blushes, powder blushes originally launched. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna be decluttering this individual one so that I will be able to get the use from the blush palettes that I have that are a bit newer. So this is getting decluttered because I do have this shade in other places in a bit more newer product, and because this is individual shade is getting older. But yeah, never thought I would be decluttering Pattern Craft, but I think it's time. So this is Dior. Unfortunately, Dior didn't bring any blushes in their holiday collection last year. This was from their holiday collection. Dior didn't bring any blushes in their holiday collection this year. They brought 2 highlighters, but they did bring blushes last year, and this was from the shade... What was this one? 621 Splendid Rose. Very beautiful formula. It's a more satin formula, and I do think that there are a couple of shades of Dior blushes, powder blushes, that I've been considering that I would want to buy, but these are also quite expensive. I would hope that Dior would maybe upgrade their packaging on these, but I spent my money on this last year. I like the finish of it, I like the shade of it, so it is getting to stay. Then the Chanel blush, these were from the fall collection last year, so this was from the beige rose et mauve shade, and I'm gonna just... Oopsie. Beautiful shade. It's a buildable shade. It looks pretty deep in the pan, but this you can get this to work from fair skin because, again, it's a Chanel formula. It is more traditional high-end luxury formulas are more on the buildable side. Beautiful shade, and definitely has made me think that I would like to get more Chanel blushes, but the issue is that they're so expensive, so that is something that's holding me back from collecting too many of this. But a beautiful shade, beautiful, more matte linen formula. This is getting to stay, and I lost the cover of that one. So, Fenty's summer blushes, Fresh Peach. So, the powder blushes that they released in US during the fall, those still haven't come to Europe, which I think that's a pretty crappy way of treating your sort of customers from the other side of the ocean. I don't like this when some brands do this. Like, if you're a brand that sells on international markets, then bring out, I can get some like that there's maybe a week or a month delay, but do bring your products also to the other regions in a timely manner, because like, I think the hype for the like powder blushes that the Fenty brought out during fall in States, now that's gonna have gone like died down already when they're gonna maybe someday make it to the European retailer. So that's just like my saying, that don't treat your customers that if you want to sell, for example, US only, that's fine, and it's like clear to everyone that you just want to sell to US customers. There's nothing wrong with that one. But if you are putting this portrait of selling to international customers, then bring your products to your international customers also in other places in US. Anyway, sorry about the rant. This was from their summer collection. This is more of a blush lighter, not usually a product that I like to go to, but I did still like this one, and this is something a bit more maybe unique in my collection. So I am going to, this gets to stay in my collection. I actually do also like the packaging is pretty cool. Then the Scorch blush from Be Perfect. So this is from the shade Melt, and I think unlike with the powder, because I think they have redone these blushes and they are now maybe a bit on a more, okay, I'm not gonna say in a manageable packaging because I don't now remember what kind of packaging the new blushes come in, but they have like redone these, and I don't think they are no longer in a baked formula, but this is a bit clunky to store, and I feel that I do have these sort of peachy shades like quite a bit in my collection in maybe packaging and formulas that I do like a bit more. It's a nice, very smooth formula, but I think because there is a Be Perfect retailer in our country, I might go into their store and see that if they have now the like Freedom blushes that are, and are those blushes maybe in a bit more manageable packaging, because unlike with the highlighter that is in the same packaging, because the highlighter shade is a bit more unique, I can deal with the clunky packaging, but because this blush shade per se isn't that unique and this is pretty, you can see it's quite thick. So yeah, I think I'm going to be decluttering this and maybe seeing that if I want to get this shade again, and maybe if they have done the packaging a bit better, then I will buy it. But this is getting decluttered in this kind of format. Yeah, and now lastly, well, wow, I think we're making progress. Let's maybe go through the face palettes. Last, and we have quite a bit. Okay, let's start with the easy ones. So, Tarte blush palette, this was from the holiday collection a few years ago. Not going anywhere. I actually like having that. I have now basically like all the, like basically almost I think all the powder blush shades Tarte has ever done. There's also the Parquet bronzer, I also have it in this kind of palette. Not going anywhere. I like this still. This is still pretty, the formula in this one is still pretty good, and the shade selection is good, and I do think the packaging is kind of cool. Okay, so this one. I have noticed I had this in my rotation, I think somewhere in the beginning of the fall, and how should I say this? I think the blushes are not as good as they used to be. The highlighter and the powder bronzer, this is definitely better shade match than the individual powder bronzer I used to have from them. So the bronzer and highlighter are still good, but I did feel that with the blushes, they're not just maybe working as good as they used to. Beauty Bay again is a more inexpensive brand, but that doesn't still mean like we have also high-end formulas that can go badly. I think what I'm maybe gonna do is that, because I have been for the longest time like thinking that I'm gonna do a Beauty Bay haul maybe at some point again, and if I'm gonna maybe get the liquid highlighter and liquid bronzer that they now do, and then maybe I can declutter this one. And if I particularly, for example, miss the highlighter or something in this, then I can get one of the individual highlighters again. But yeah, maybe we'll keep this for now, but I think for the future this might be a face palette that at some point will get decluttered. Okay, another product that's not going anywhere, so this is the Bare Cheeks from Blend Bunny. These are on the more pigmented side, but again, all of these shades are very beautiful. This also has a bit more unique blush shades from my collection, and this is the Blend Bunny's quality in terms of their powder products. It's just awesome, so this is not going anywhere. Okay, another Charlotte Tilbury product. So I have actually used this one. It might not show too much, but I have actually used this one. This is not the best, I think this is one of the few products that I could have skipped if I maybe have watched some reviews, but the sort of bronzer contour shade is nice. The highlighting shades are okay. This sort of more blush shade, especially this one over here, they are a bit harder to pick up. With my brushes I use for faux hair brushes, meaning not real animal hair brushes. And I think someone has said that if you use like real animal hair brushes, these actually might pick better. But I still want to keep this one around because there are occasions that I do use, but this isn't something that gets used a lot in my collection. But it is still a beautiful palette, and there are some things of it that I do like, so it's going to stay. Obviously, it was a bit expensive. So because I decluttered the individual Pat McGrath blush, I can still happily keep my powder, what are these? Blush palettes. Yeah. So the highlighter of this one, I have said, I think in my every declutter, the highlighter very powdery, not a fan of it, but the blush shades in this one very beautiful. It's a shame that she didn't do another round of these sort of blush palettes for holiday, because I do think that these have been pretty popular, and these are now one of her better products. This doesn't have the Nymphaea, it's another one, but beautiful product, and I'm still happy that I do have this one. So this is the Bridgerton palette that I think I have again said in most of my declutters that I still haven't used this one, but now that I did declutter the individual blush shade, because this also has the Nymphet over here, and then actually there's a more of a neutral leaning shade and a highlighter, so this gets to stay now because I did get rid of the individual blush that was older than this one. And lastly, some P. Louise face palettes, because P. Louise likes to do face palettes, and I apparently like to accumulate these ones. So I'm going to be decluttering this Dream A Little Dream face quad that I got in one of their sort of budget boxes during spring. So with this one, the bronzer is too warm for me, and also I wasn't impressed with the highlighter. This highlighter shade is one of the driest highlighters, and considering that I did get the sort of big book palette for Christmas that's full of their highlighters, the formula difference between this one and the highlighters in the book palette, it's also a newer product, is like day and night. The blush and the blush lighter were alright, but because there's like 2 shades that I don't like in this one, and because these take a lot of space, so this is getting thrown out. So this is the what is this called? See color in your darkest days. Yeah, it's hard because they divided the text. So this is one of the books. So this is basically has, these are creams and these are powders. I actually like the shades in this one, and also the cream shades are pretty nice, and this is getting to stay because there are, I actually like using that one. So this is to wrap it up, and this is maybe redundant, especially for someone who doesn't do makeup on other people, but I do actually like the powder formula in this one. It's a very, very nice powder formula, especially considering the price of this one. And the shade match of these 2 shades that I can use is pretty good on me, so I'm keeping this one even though it is a bit extra of having this big of a bronzer palette. And then something that's not going anywhere, so this is, it's cold out, baby, it's cold outside, so this has all sort of pink linen blushes, and this especially has more cool tone linen blushes. I think this is one blush palette that has been sold out on P. Louise's website for quite some time, and I don't know have they actually restocked it after, like this was in the last year's sort of end of the year budget box, and they did sell it individually, but I can understand that why this has been popular. So this is not going anywhere. I actually do like the blush shades of this one. But yeah, those were all the cheek products, and I think we are gonna do now the sort of lip products next, because with lip products there isn't that many categories. There's like, I'm gonna do liquid lipsticks, lip glosses, and lipsticks individually, so it should be like only 3 product categories. Okay, so lip glosses, and as you can see we have a bit of work to do. My gosh, why are we having this many? Okay, let's now get the obvious ones out of the way. So we are still keeping with the idea that none of the Fenty gloss bombs that I have in my collection, like none of these are getting decluttered. So I have one of the cream finishes. What is the shade of this one? Why did I have to put this in small? So I think it was Fenty Glow, but I can't see. Oh no, the Fenty Glow is the name of this one. So this is the cream shade Fenty Glow. This was from the holiday sort of trio that Fenty does every year, last year, not going anywhere. This is the sort of iridescent limited edition gloss bomb shade that you could bought as a ornament last year, not going anywhere. This I think is the lip oil from this year's summer collection. I did say that as a formula I felt that it was a bit redundant because I can't really, in terms of finish, I do think this is pretty similar to if you buy just a normal gloss bomb, but again, this is not going anywhere, and I think the shade of this one is called First at Once was this one, and yeah, this isn't going anywhere. So this is the swirl gloss from this year's sort of individual ornament. I actually didn't like the sort of, because usually I have asked the sort of lip gloss trio for Christmas present. This year I didn't like the shades that were in the sort of trio, but I did like this sort of individual. I actually like this one more than the last year's ornament, but yeah, this isn't going anywhere. This is in the see-through, but okay, this is actually in the heat formula, and I know that because I'm not a fan of, I tried this year, I did try the NYX sort of like Duck Plump lip gloss that was absolutely painful. I might have one video on my channel where you can actually see how painful using that one was. But because I'm not a fan of these sort of painful burning glosses, I know that I won't gonna be using this one, so this is gonna be actually getting thrown away. And then this one, this was again in the holiday set. So in the holiday set, I think there was the clear heat gloss that I just showed. Then they had the Fenty cream shade in Fenty Glow, and then this one, I think this was one of the limited edition shades that was just available in the box. So yeah, this was the Pink Dragonfly was the name of this one. So this is getting to stay. These are the P. Louise sort of glosses. These are technically lip oils, but for me these work as lip glosses, and this is actually a lip drip that was a sort of re-released product in one of their Christmas sets this year. None of these are getting thrown away. I actually do like formula. This was a bit thick for my liking, but I did still like this overall, so these are staying. So this is one of the Makeup Revolution's lip oils, but again I do treat it as a gloss because it's so glowy. I actually do like this one. I have had very hit and miss luck with Makeup Revolution's lip product, but I do like this one, especially over more of a orangey leaning lip liner. So this is staying. So Oden's Eyes lip gloss. This was in the Angie's Halloween collection last year, and this I think is in the shade. Why are we not focusing? Spectral was the shade name. This is actually in my current makeup rotation, not going anywhere. This might actually be one of the few lip glosses that I might be using up at some point because I use this quite a lot. It's a more brown leaning gloss shade, but it is a very nice formula, and this is staying. What is this one? So this is the Marblicious gloss from Catrice. They brought out these marble glosses. I think this was in their fall edit already like a year ago. I think I'm going to be throwing this away just because I have almost used this one up. This is a very nice sort of a hydrating formula on your lips. It doesn't give glow, it's more of a sheen on your lips, but I have used this almost up. You can see that it's been pretty it's been pretty digged out, and this has been open for quite a while. And, with some products, the expiry, because according I think to regulation, especially here in EU, you do have to like put a expiration like sort of month, that how many months will the product be good for use once you open it. And especially with powder products, it can be actually more longer time if you store them properly, but with lip products there actually is a limit how long you can use them, and this is getting pretty old, so that is why it's getting decluttered. Charlotte Tilbury, this was one of the glosses that I think were in a summer collection. What was this called? Pinkgasm. Yeah, this I think was in the same collection with the face palette. This is getting to stay. Not the best gloss that I have ever tried, but it's Charlotte Tilbury, so it gets to stay. So this is the Natasha Denona's My Dream collection lip gloss, and I think I'm going to let this one stay. I have actually also used this quite a bit, so I do believe this might be again a product that I might be able to use up. So I think during this year, like upcoming year, I will try to make use of this one, and then because again this is more on the older side of products, then at some point I will be decluttering this purely because I don't want to put expired lip gloss on my lips. Tarte Maracuja lip product, and mine is in the shade Orchid. I think I have come into conclusion that it's a bit too gloopy for my taste, and also because the applicator, it's not that precise because it's this kind of sticky clicky pen applicator. So I think I'm going to be decluttering this just because I'm not gravitating towards this particular product because of the fact that there is a bit of a finicking done to get this evenly on my lips, and it's quite easy with this one because it's a clicky pen format to get too much, and because it's a thicker gloss formula, it's harder to control with this kind of applicator. So this is getting decluttered purely because I'm just not maybe a fan of the application format, and also just because how thick the formula is. I think both of these ones I'm just gonna declutter because I'm not using these ones. I think are both of these actually unopened? Yeah, I think these have been hanging out in my drawers for a while, and my luck with W7, because I have actually tried W7 lip products, and my luck with their lip products generally, except for the lip liners that I do actually like, I do think they make one of the best like lip liners for drugstore, and how inexpensive those are, that's just like good. But their lip products, aside from the lip liners, haven't been such a success for me, so I think because I'm just not using these, I'm gonna be getting rid of these ones. Then a sample of the Dior Lip Maximizer. I'm gonna keep this one. This is gonna be pretty easy to use up because it's so small. Then from House of Hoor, this is a sort of one of these, I think this is actually in the wrong category of products. I might have put this in the liquid lipsticks sort of lip lacquer category. But again, this is one of a more unique shades in my formula. It kind of looks this sort of milky pink, but it actually is more like orangey leaning when you get this on your lips. Aesthetically, this is one of the best packaging that I have seen in my lip products, and this is one of those products that initially has a gloss, but then when it wears off, you still have a tint on your lips, but this gets to stay. And then to the second lip product, lip gloss formula that I do like to collect. So Kiko Milano's glosses, these are not going anywhere, these are wonderful. This is in shade 11, and then the other one is that 17. So Kiko doesn't put the shade name. These actually have shade names, but they only put the numbers in these ones. But these two, and then this is on their, this was in their summer collection. This was a more iridescent blue lilac shade. This is a shade that I have been using quite a lot, so this is actually something I might be able to use up at some point. You can see the shade number has worn off. I think it was... No, I can't. Actually, I've used this so much, so I can't... I have this in my Excel. I know I will be able to find it in that one, but anyway, it's a more bronzy neutral golden shade, very beautiful. And then I have a couple of shades from the which have this sort of more golden rose gold corks, and the shade numbers are 45 and 43. So yeah, those are the glosses, and we did get rid of some, so I'm quite happy with that. Then let's go to the bullet lipsticks, because those are next. Okay, are we on frame? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, something has to be done with this one. So this is actually a Tarte lip product that I've been liking. This is a mini of their satin lipsticks. I think this might be in the shade Rose, if I don't remember incorrectly. Yeah, Rose. This is a very good formula. I'd say if you're looking for a satin lipstick, maybe look into these in full size. I do think this is a good formula. Another good lip formula, as you can see, this is also worn off. So this is the Essence more matte bullet lipsticks, and this is in the shade Velvet Punch. It's a more wine colored shade. I do have to be a bit careful. I think the bullet has gone a bit loose in the packaging, but a very, very nice and beautiful wine colored shade. Then this one, MUA, these are more satin-like lip formulas. This is one of those My Lips But Better shades. This is actually a shade that I usually get asked from, what lip are you wearing? A very good formula for drugstore especially, and this was in the... What was this called? Heroic. Heroic was the shade name of this one. And because it's a more of a stylo format, this is actually also pretty easy to apply to your lips, but this is also staying. We're not being that good currently. Okay, a Pat McGrath mini that I'm gonna declutter because I'm just, there's a very limited time in the year that I gravitate towards punchy reds, and if I'm wearing a bright red like this one, I would rather than, I'm not usually a fan of liquid lipsticks, but if it's a bright or punchy shade, then I want it to be a liquid lipstick, because then I know I'm not gonna have to worry about getting spread all over my lips when I'm eating. So because this is a more traditional bullet matte formula, that is why this is getting decluttered, and this is just a mini, so I got this I think as a gift with purchase, so it's not that big of a loss. Then some glowy lips, from which I do think that the Catrice one, so this is actually I think technically a lip balm, but this is Caring Colors here, they're advertising this as a lip balm, but unfortunately with me this actually felt drying when I wore this like longer than a few hours, so for me as a even product that is described as lip balm, this actually wasn't that hydrating. So because it's sort of drying when you use this longer during the daytime, I am actually going to get rid of this one. Then a sort of glowy lip product that was a hit, so this is Moira, and this is in the shade 20 Blushed, and again this is a more of a glowy, but this is actually quite pigmented for being a glowy lip product, and this is a very nice, and this is actually quite hydrating when you wear this one, so this gets to stay. I think Kiko we could go through. So I think I'm going to be decluttering the Valentine's lipstick from a few years ago. This is more for the fact that it is getting quite old. This also has the kind of a funky old school drugstore smell that some Kiko, I don't think the Kiko products that I have gotten this year, they no longer have the scent, but I have noticed that a few Kiko products that I did buy a couple of years ago, those still had some of them had the very old school drugstore scent that I'm not a fan of. So this was in the shade 02, so it's a mauve. The formula was quite okay, not perhaps still the smoothest of satin lipsticks that I have worn, but just because I think that this is again maybe showing its age, so this is getting to be let go. So then a Kiko lipstick that's not going anywhere, so this is one of their sparkly lipsticks from their holiday collections last year. It's a bright pink, and I do like this one quite a lot, and this is actually much smoother. This is 02 from their holiday premiere collection last year. I think this is definitely improved from the Valentine's lipstick that I just decluttered. This was already like much smoother to apply, and it had a scent, but it wasn't a sort of bad scent compared to the other one. So Natasha Denona, these are also not getting decluttered, so this is actually my favorite formula. You can see I have especially used the more like orangey leaning shade quite a lot. It's my go-to like sort of neutral brownish shade, but if you're looking for a good high-end satin lipstick formula, this is something that I would definitely recommend. And none of these are going away. This was Avarul, what the more pink shade was called Avarul, and I believe this was called, the orangey shade was called, was it Kala? Yeah. So this was called Kala. I do think, even though I think these ones were meant to be a limited edition, but I do think you have been able to get this at least from Natasha Denona's own website. Okay, then the full-size Pat McGrath lipsticks. I am not obviously going to be throwing these away, even though I haven't been using these that much. So I have the shade Fembot, and then the special edition one was Divine Indiscretion, because this is Divine Indiscretion. This is one of the Bridgerton lipsticks. I think I got this on sale. I'm actually going to show this side by side, so yeah, so you can kind of see the other one is a bit deeper. The Fembot is one of my favorite sort of cool toned pinks. I have always said that Pat McGrath Bullet Matte Lipstick formula, it is one of my favorite formulas. However, be aware that it is one of the more also drying formulas, but that is why it's also something that will last on your lips like relatively well, even though it's not a full-on liquid lipstick. Okay, then a Makeup Revolution lip product that I have been liking. This is from their holiday collection this year. It looks much deeper. It's actually a very nice wine color on my lips. The sparkles also do give a nice effect, but I haven't reviewed this one yet on my channel, but this has been already on my rotation. And yeah, if you have been eyeing these, I would actually recommend these ones. So first, one of the e.l.f. lip products I tried this year. So this is in the, could we please, no, we're not focusing today. So this was in the shade Pleased, and this again I discussed on my review that this was a formula that was not just good for the price of being drugstore, this was a good satin lipstick formula, period, and I have been really hard like trying to be a good person and not buy more of these, because I did like this formula so much. Again, this is one of those more cool tone pink shades that I do tend to gravitate towards, but yeah, excellent find from the drugstore. Then another good find from the drugstore. These are the Catrice lipsticks, and this is in the shade 040. This I think is a more of a orangey leaning rose shade, and again this is one of those more like comfort matte formulas. And I do think that the e.l.f. formula, I do feel it's maybe a bit and in like just a hint more refined than the Catrice one, but the Catrice one also, if e.l.f. is not available in your country and you're looking for good bullet matte lipstick on drugstore, I would like still recommend also the Catrice ones. The e.l.f. one has better packaging. This you can clearly feel that it's quite cheap, light plastic drugstore packaging. Then I think this is one of my most used bullet lipsticks. So this is the shade Odyssey from Lethal, which I do think most people know for their eyeshadows. You can see this has been very well loved. This is not going anywhere. I'm probably, I don't know, the day when I no longer have this one, I will have to find my sort of like, because like full-on brown lipsticks, they don't suit me like that much, but the brown lipstick that they have either a pink or a more like orangey undertone, those do tend to fit for me, and this is something that is just a go-to shade for me. So this is not going anywhere, and I have always said that it's good when indie brands do other things than just eyeshadow palettes. So if you have been eyeing these on Lethal's website, I would grab one of these lipsticks. These are pretty good. So Odensai, this is one of their glowier lipsticks, and I think this was in the shade Love Jasmine, so this is the orangey. This again is a more of a glowier lip formula. I would still say that it still goes more to the satin side, but I do think even for satin lipsticks this is a glowier, and again this is something that I do gravitate towards during spring and summer, because this is actually, it is a bit of a brighter shade, even though it didn't look super bright, but I do like this, and I wish that Odensai would really also bring more shades in these bullet lipsticks, because they have so far only like now been expanding their sort of like cream matte lipsticks, and then the sort of lip glosses, which they brought out quite a few with their influencer collab, but I wish they would also expand this sort of lipstick range. Okay, and the last two. So Beauty Bay, this is in their sort of satin lipstick formula. This is in the shade Cake. I was much happier with this one. I had the issue with their cream, their sort of bullet matte lipstick, that those were like too creamy. I had the issue that it was hard to get them to look even on your lips because they were slipping so much. But these actually satin lipsticks, even though you would think that matte lipsticks would actually be like sort of more not so creamy, but actually these satin lipsticks, these apply much better on your lips, and I have been liking this shade a lot. So this is actually not going anywhere, and again, one of the products that if you're shopping from Beauty Bay, maybe look into these ones. And then from Kiko, this is called Smart Fusion Lipstick 405. Again, they don't put the shade names. So this is unused, if you're wondering. I do think also the Pat McGrath lipsticks were maybe something that I haven't actually used. This is getting to stay. This is it probably goes to the list of products that will get into my rotation at some point. Then I'm going to give my review of this one. But I do want to try out this one because the Bullet Matte lipstick formula is one of the few lipstick formulas from Kiko that I haven't actually tried out. So this is something that I would want to try at some point. And then to the lip lacquers and sort of what are these? Liquid matte lipsticks. Yeah. So this is getting decluttered. I have, as I said, with Makeup Revolution, I have had a bit of mixed luck. Unfortunately, this was the sort of pout tint. This was the issue that it felt very... I have actually tried this a couple of times after I made my initial review of this one, but it's just unpleasant to wear. It tastes strange, and it's very easy to get the sort of... It's hard to avoid getting the taste in your mouth. It's a very sort of thick and gloopy formula. This is one of those products that it's meant to be like... I can actually open so you can maybe see. So it's one of those formulas that it's meant to go glossy on your lips but leave a tint behind. It does leave kind of a tint behind, so it's not like false advertising, but this just in terms of formulation wasn't a success for me. It's a just, I think, very unpleasant product to use altogether, so that's getting thrown away. Fenty's liquid lipstick, and this is in the, I think it's Sweetheart was the... No, Sweetheart was the name of this one. Very nice pinky shade. One of my favorite sort of bullet matte lipstick formulas altogether. So this is getting to stay. Similarly, Odensai, this again has been in my rotation since I've been trying out the Odensai Holiday Plus from this year. So this is in the shade Apricot Girl. This is, I think, if you're thinking what's the difference between these two. So this is something that doesn't dry down completely, so this is more comfortable to wear, but you have to reapply it during the daytime. This is a more traditional liquid lipstick in terms of the fact that this will dry down, and if you suffer from dry lips, I maybe would steer away from the Odensai ones, but both of these in terms of formulas are very good, and if you're looking for good liquid lipsticks, I would recommend both of these. This is from Blend Bunny, and I maybe have to throw this away because the oils in this one keep seeping all the time. I have tried to clean this up, and you can probably like see from the camera that the oils have gone through. So I'm a bit afraid now that this is probably just expired. It's such a shame because this was a nice... Let me just show. It's a nice cool toned... Again, my camera is making this look a bit warmer than it is. Nice cool toned pink shade. I like this formula. I think it was quite close to the Fenty formula in terms of the fact that it didn't dry down completely, so it wasn't like uncomfortable to wear, but it was still stayed very nice on put if you just drank some water. But yeah, because this just gets oily all the time and something with the formula has like happened, so this is getting eventually thrown away. I really would wish Blend Bunny would actually bring a full-on, because this was in one of their limited edition collections, and I don't think the brand has these available like all the time, but I hope in the future Blend Bunny would maybe do so that they would actually like do a full-on lip range with different kind of lip products. That would be kind of cool. Then a Bullet Matte liquid lipstick. This was from, I always forget what the name of this brand was because it doesn't read on the packaging, but I got this in one of my Advent makeup calendars a few years ago, so it's a traditional red, but I actually now have another cream red lipstick in my collection that I actually do like a bit more. I think the issue with this formula has been that because it's one of those formulas that it doesn't dry down completely, but it also doesn't wear off like too nicely. And with this one, I have noticed that I did have to like maybe baby this a little bit if I wore this to celebration. And as I mentioned earlier, if I'm wearing a bold red lip, I want it to be then I want it to be a formula that will stay put no matter what. And because I do have now maybe another product that does it maybe a bit better, that's why this is getting decluttered. And also the fact that it's a like this is from a random brand from my advent calendar, so there's also no collector's reasons to keep this one. So this is actually a newer sort of product from Odense that I did get with the sort of advent Christmas palettes, and this was from one of their like influencer collaborations. So this was from the Judy's collaboration they did last year with the 3 influencers. This is a different formula than the liquid lipstick I showed earlier. It's sort of a bit more moussey. I'm still kind of trying this out. I do actually like this sort of like bright pink shade. I do think in a like liquid lipstick, this kind of shade, I can go for it in a liquid lipstick format because I know I don't have to worry about it going all over my face when I'm just doing like everyday stuff. But I'm still a bit 50-50 how I'm liking this formula because this is different. It's kind of a moussey formula, however, it feels a bit almost waxy, which is a very strange thing to feel in a sort of liquid lipstick. But yeah, this is now in my rotation with the holiday palettes, and I'm going to be getting back with this one on a full-on review to see what my end conclusion about this one. But if you have bought previously the Odense liquid lipsticks in the sort of square packaging and you're thinking about buying this one from Judy's collection, then just FYI, this is a different formula than the other liquid lipsticks they have done previously. But this, because I'm still testing this out, this is going to stay. I do like the ombre packaging, that's pretty cool. Charlotte Tilbury's liquid lipstick in Pillow Talk. I still haven't used this one. This might be now an old store with the Charlotte Tilbury products, but this gets stay. This is unopened, so this should be still good, and I really have to get to use this and see do I want to keep it. I do like that how heavy this feels. It feels like a nice luxury product. Okay, so I was thinking about the red liquid lipstick that is replacing the one that I decluttered. This, again, it's a sort of cream liquid lipstick, meaning it doesn't dry down completely, but I do feel that unlike the liquid lipstick that I just decluttered, I do feel that with this one still the wearing off was much like nicer. And when you because with some liquid lipstick I have had the issue that when you try to reapply them over the old layer during the daytime, some of them don't reapply that well. But with this one, it actually reapplied over the old layer if you have eaten something quite well. So this is something, again, that's not going to be like staying put completely if you eat and drink during the daytime, but I did find that this is a bit better compared to the other one. And even though this kind of looks like a plum shade, this actually goes on full red. I was being like, how should I say, I made a bit of miscalculation because I thought this is going to be like a muted plum, and then when this went on my lips it was actually red, but that's undertone. My undertone could also influence that one. This is in the shade Matcha Berry, and this is in the sort of Real Love's Fall collection, where actually one of the liquid blushes that I showed earlier was included. But yeah, if you like your liquid lip creams, maybe look into these. I mean, these are pretty cheap, but they are quite nice. So this is the Catrice Shine Bomb. This is a lip lacquer. This is actually one of the better lip lacquers. Nice pink shade. This is probably waiting for summertime again. This again is one of those products that surprised me positively, and this is staying because I actually liked how this was pretty easy to apply. It sort of stayed put. You did get a nice layer of shine initially, but also the sort of tint that this left behind, it stayed very well. This wasn't like messy during the daytime, so you didn't have to worry that if you ate something that did you have this like all over your face. So this again is actually if you like your sort of lip lacquers, this is actually a good formula that I would recommend. I think this one, I am gonna let this one go because I think compared to the Catrice, this is because I think, and because I also had the House of Hoor sort of lip tint, because this is like Essence's version of the Korean and sort of other popular Asian lip tints, so this is sort of Essence version of it, of that kind of product. But I do feel that I have like similar products in bit better formulas. I think it's a decent formula, like you do get the layer of gloss and then you have a tint underneath, but with this one I felt that, for example, unlike with the Catrice one, the gloss layer wore off quite quickly and this became drying more quicker than for example, the Catrice product or the House of Hoover product that I had in my collection. So for that reason, this is getting binned. Kiko's liquid lipstick, this is still on my to try pile, so again, we will see later on how I feel about that one. And this is MUA, they brought also, I think, liquid matte, velvet matte liquid lipsticks, and they did bring this during this year. This is in the shade, what was this actually called? Classic, yeah. This is gonna be going through my rotation at some point, and then we will see how I like this, because I do think that it would be good also to maybe have some other good liquid lipstick recommendations from the drugstore side. And I have generally liked most of MUA products that I have tried, I have liked, so I have high hopes for this one. But yeah, I think we're done with the lips also, so let's go filming the outro and yeah. So I did turn the camera a little, so I think we did decently. I mean, there's a fair share of products. I can maybe do so that I will pop out the picture of the products, like and amount of products that we did end up decluttering, and I do think it's gonna be now easier for me to make space, because I can actually like now show this pile of things that I have that are. So these are all products that are not in my drawer. These are products that have been just piling in my desk, and as I said, this has like Black Friday things. There are my Catrice advent calendar things are in here, the ones that I'm intending to keep. And there's probably, I don't know, will I collect my Christmas things to this one. The e.l.f. individual shadows are also here. Those weren't Black Friday, those I just bought randomly because they were available in our stores. But yeah, I have to fit these ones, and then the sort of remaining products in my drawers. So yeah, but I'm still pretty happy with the products that I did. I do think I did still end up getting a decent amount of products decluttered, and it's
yeah,
still a lot of makeup. Like, I'm not gonna try to make of anything that it isn't. It's still a lot of makeup, but this is still a hobby for me, and I do like testing out makeup and telling my opinions about it, and I do get joy out of it. So I'm also like acknowledging that having this sort of huge collection, like, it's not necessary, but it does bring me joy, and as I said, we did get rid of a decent amount of products. Comment down below, have you been doing any decluttering in your collection, and what kind of products have you been keeping, and especially do tell that if you've been decluttering, what kind of products have you been getting rid of, and also what kind of products are maybe coming into your collection now that we have had Black Friday, and maybe that what you have wished for Christmas. If you liked this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I'll be seen again soon in the video. Bye bye!